Okay, welcome back to Robert Jenson's Systematic Theology. It's 4-1 of 2015. We're going to take a look at Jenson's political theology as immersed in an ecclesiology. Jenson feels that the ideal church is an institutional space within a society where true moral deliberation should take place, which can refine and challenge existing maxims that need revision. So the church has a very active political role, according to Jenson. He wants to take a look at that, and he takes a look at it after just finishing up a detailed discussion of Antiphony, that dialogue that combined theology and poetry and art. But now we're going to drop that aesthetic element altogether, and we'll pick up politics coupled with ecclesiology. The first moment is going to be the Finite Republic, which is constituted to pursue a particular good and doesn't really function within the realm of universality. There are 6 aspects of a finite republic. It's usually based on a lust for dominion. It is a communal polity that is based on contract or communal consent in law only. The problem that Jenson sees here is that there must be a consent to an antecedent practice justice, and this particular type of politics is simply a contract to seek particular goods. It does not involve universality. So the political problem for this type of an approach is the problem of the center for Jenson, and it's usually governed by dominant persons. And so it really describes a pre-political state. There's a consensus by decision procedures only, and it really begs the question as to who really constitutes this type of a membership, because it's not really an area where there's any really where issues are really truly politically adjudicated, and it does require a word of mandate. Because for Jenson, an authentic politics would offer a provision for speaking of mandates, which means they would be said among the people, and they would be a vertical intersection of content of this is the will of heaven. And for Jenson, religion, or the church, can provide the apex spot of intersection for this occurrence of the voicing of the prophetic voice of the mandate, of the divine mandate. And he does believe that institutional space should be provided within every political realm. And so to correct this particularity, we need to look at how do we interject universality in order to reach an authentic political theology. And that universality is going to be the second moment. It's going to be the word of prophecy, or the analogous step of a word of prophecy, as a mandate. And it takes place in that created space within a society. And he says that God's address as mandate is the Christ event itself. It is life constituted as life for others. Humanity is established in being with fellow humanity. We are to become subjects for one another, and it establishes a political shared consensus of one communal will in the ideal state. It's a formed communal structure of mutuality, and this creates a true possibility for wholeness within a community. So he wants to move from the Antiphony that he's been discussing to polity, or political theology, and therefore the prophetic word as mandate can only evolve from dialogue and conversation. That's the precedent that he has just concluded discussing. But the dialogue of Antiphony now becomes the dialogue of conceptual polity, and then becomes a dialogue of praxis. And if you remember from the previous lesson, it's through the process called translation. So now we perform that conceptual translation of the Antiphony. So we gather together our interpreted subjective identities of humanity that evolve from the dialogue and couple it with the objectively remembered identity in existence in order to work out our revisions and our posited ideals in the praxis moment. It does include the moment of negation. We must guard against manipulation. We are aware that the dialogue of political theology takes place within an alienated collectivity or an alienated society, and that people are usually involved in an ontological restlessness of loss of center. And he further suggests that we should be guarded against established moral maxims that attempt to usurp the authentic required moral deliberation that needs to take place. So we need to get involved in a tuned hearing because before we can respond authentically, we need to hear authentically. From the church, we hear the gospel from witnesses. From the secular world, we hear the human counterpart as ontologically restless, as an ontological questioning. Now, the institutional space of the church within an authentic political environment, it'll become that institutional space for the moral deliberation. It's based on a mutual service between beings, and key, there exists no need for dominating figures at all. It should be a full-on mutuality of service. That's the true church. It should be an organic democracy. So it constitutes an environment of moral discourse of varying gifts, where all members have an equal opportunity to speak the prophetic word. Now, if we take a look at the sixth moment under the step, we look at methodology, and he says that it's a methodology of the offering of the prophetic word. And the prophetic word evolves out of a communal deliberation that transforms convictions. It's a communal deliberation at the level of the psyche and motivational interest, that needs to reach a true universality, and to reach a general consensus of one sovereign will that is attained together. So he very much does see the institutional church as the locale, the true space within a society for moral deliberation. That's its function. Its function is the moral deliberation of a political theology that can work on revising, updating, or reinforcing current moral maxims. So if we look at an authentic polity or an authentic political position, it is where we actually have a true arena for community ethics. And it's all gathered under the concept of peace. Authentic polity strives to achieve peace as eirene, which means to enjoin. It's an ordered concord of citizens constituted in enjoining God. Citizens are united in the love of God and in a love for one another in God. So a true political environment will function as a joint, moral, deliberative community which provides a space within itself for this deliberative moral community and communication to take place, which should be the ideal, organic democratic church. So it does constitute a process of moral address, which remains open to and provides for a space for this divine address of mandate. So within the political sphere of justice, there is available the political space of divine call, which evolves as prophetic word, which evolves out of moral deliberative conversation, which evolves out of an ideal, organically democratic ecclesiology. So his definition, authentic polity equals the process of moral discourse by which community is created. It always exists within the context of a divine mandate that is available. The prophetic word does have a place to evolve. It's open to this prophetic word, and the address of God will become its spring and content of the moral deliberation. So we have a very dynamic view of a political theology being developed within a true organic democratic ecclesiology. Jenson edits a theological journal on ecclesiology. He's very much ecclesiology based, and when he takes this conceptual translation stage out of Antiphony into conceptual political theology, it's through the provided institutional space of a true, free, and organic ecclesiology. So it's very, very much asking the church to step up and to become a true politically theological church that gets involved in political democratic evolution and progress, and one that works toward and is open toward the prophetic word, which evolves out of that interplay and dialogue of varying gifts within the ecclesiology. So it's a great look at 74 to 84 and the moment of conceptual translation out of Antiphony, which was more at the psychic level of the combining theology and poetry and art, to moving on to the gnosis side of things, moving out of the Sophia into the gnosis, and the gnosis does involve conceptual translation, and it's a conceptual translation that takes place in an ecclesiology that seeks to develop prophetic word that can speak to the existing moral maxims and determine if they need to be revised or reinforced or critiqued